Mic check, test 1, 2, 1, 2. Mic check, test, 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 test. Mic check, 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 check. Test, 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 test. Mic check, test 1, 2, 1, 2. Check, 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 check.
Ooh, my notes won't fit here. Good evening, everyone. Tonight, I want to begin by talking about the tremendous young men in our football program. Today has not been an easy day for them or anyone associated with KU football. But you can imagine how difficult it has been for the young men within the program. They understand the challenges that lie ahead of them in wake of my decision. As I spoke to the team earlier today at the Anderson Family Football Complex, I came away truly inspired. Inspired by their character, by their determination, and by their commitment to the KU football program. I saw the hunger in their eyes for success. I heard it in their voices, and I felt the passion of their commitment. They want to succeed very, very badly. The student athletes have handled a very difficult situation with class and dignity, and that gives me such confidence in the future of KU football. As you all know, earlier today I informed Coach Beatty that he will not be retained at the conclusion of this football season. After a thorough and thoughtful evaluation of our football program over the last 3 months, I arrived at a decision this morning that it was in the best interest of the football program's best interest to move forward with new leadership. Philosophically, I've always been hesitant to make a change in a coaching position, particularly a head coach, during the season. However, the early signing date in December and the new transfer regulations have changed the dynamic, and it was my determination that now is the right time to announce this decision. Ultimately, I did not see a path forward to long-term success in the Big 12. As I look ahead the next few seasons, as I studied our football organization, it was clear to me that we needed to move forward in a different way. I appreciate and respect Coach Beatty's willingness to complete the season in support of our student athletes, especially those seniors who have sacrificed over the last 4 and 5 years. Coach Beatty is a man of character and integrity. I want to thank him for his hard work and dedication to the KU football program. He and his assistants have made progress in our program. Though that progress has not resulted in the number of wins that we desire, I know that he will be leaving the program better than he found it. I want our student athletes, recruits, fans, alumni, and entire KU community to know that change is on the horizon. We are going to find a proven leader, a tenacious recruiter, and a developer of young men on and off the field. As I have routinely said, we will break the cycle. My expectation is that the football program should be a bowl-bound program on a regular basis. I believe with the players currently in our program and the recruits who will come this, and our search is already underway. I'm excited by the wide-ranging interest we've already received, and I anticipate receiving in the days and weeks ahead. After tonight, I will not comment further on the search until we introduce a new head football coach for our program. In the meantime, I continue to support these coaches, our student athletes, and our program as we head down the final 3 games of the season. And with that, I'd be happy to take your questions.
What makes you confident that you think the new coach can turn the program into
You know, as I evaluated our program, and even before I took this job, Tom, you know, I looked in to see what things are missing from our program. You know, with the addition of our new indoor practice facility, I think that's a huge advantage for us. I think that's been a very difficult negative for our coaches to overcome in recruiting. When you're a program at this latitude with our weather in the spring and late fall, you know what? We need an indoor facility. So we're going to get that. So I'm confident that's going to be a big piece to it. But more than that, it really has to be the investment we make in our football program. And I've convinced that from the leadership of Dr. Gerard on down, that people understand we have to make a greater commitment. And that commitment is financial resources, plain and simple. We're competing with less people behind the scenes to support our coaches. We're competing with less people in a recruiting organization that prepares our coaches and lets them know who it is they should be pursuing in that recruiting effort. And it is a group of people in recruiting that are constantly reaching out and touching high school coaches as well as those prospects. So again, as I look in, we have a great university. We have a proud athletic success in our entire program. Our football has been down, but we have in the Anderson complex, we have a great facility there. We have a stadium in proximity to the Anderson complex. We have practice fields now in proximity. We now have the indoor practice facility. And then the final piece will be the stadium when we move on to that. But I think more importantly right now, we have to invest in our program than investing in the stadium. But I'm confident. I wouldn't have come here if I didn't believe that we could turn this program around, if I didn't believe we could break this cycle and be competitive in the Big 12. So I'm committed to do it, and I'm confident we will. Yes.
Alumni. Was the chancellor involved in this decision at all, or did you consult with him or let him know that you were considering to make this decision?
Well, certainly I report to the chancellor, and I would share with him my plans and what I plan to do. So yes, I certainly shared with him the direction I wanted to take the program, and he was fully supportive of my actions.
You were pretty patient in the eyes of probably the majority of people. What made you that patient, and why did you want to give that much?
Well, I appreciate that question, Tom. Yeah, I think I was patient, but I did want to give a thorough, thoughtful review of the program. Coach Beatty had done nothing that I believed that he deserved to be removed sooner than this point. I think he deserved to finish the season out. And I saw nothing that led me to believe that we needed to change any sooner. But as we come to the end of the season, with that signing date looming, I felt now was the time to let our fans know, recruits know, and everybody know that we're headed in a different direction.
And with this announcement, does it become easier for third parties, whether it's agents or whatever, absolutely, that you are going to be hiring and you expect to hear from from coaches through third parties?
Yeah, we have definitely already, since the announcement earlier this afternoon, heard from multiple individuals, multiple agents. But the challenge there is weeding through who is trying to leverage their current position and those who truly are interested in the KU program. So that's a challenge that I have before me, is trying to wade through those people who express interest and whether that interest is real.
Ryan Marshall, 41 Action News. I don't know what the current candidate pool is like, and I know you said you've already had people inquiring about the position. Is there some level of priority or commitment to maybe finding a minority candidate as well for this position?
Yeah, certainly we want to have minority candidates in our pool, and we will strive to do that. Ultimately, though, I'll be candid with you, we want to hire the best person for the job. But yes, I'm certainly sensitive and know and realize that to have a quality pool, I think we will need to have some minority candidates involved.
Jeff, I wondered what the timetable personally would be to bring in a new coach in. Will you have a search committee like they do sometimes, or will it be all yours?
Yeah, first question. I really don't have a timeline. I think that the identification of interested coaches, they really dictate that timeline. Again, as I just mentioned, many times people and coaches will express interest simply to, pad the situation they're in. But I really don't have a timeline. I think that sooner rather than later. I do, since I've made this announcement, I think it will be important that we act reasonably quickly, shortly after the season, if not before. And then second question was, well, I will certainly have search advisors. I don't call it a committee. I think this decision rests with me. I think the chancellor has trusted me with this decision, and I think that's one of the reasons that he hired me, that he and has expressed that belief in me to be able to do the job. Now, it doesn't mean I won't use people to advise me as I move forward, but it won't be a search firm as others have used in the past.
Hey, Jeff, Tyler Griever from WIW. Because there was a large Iowa State fan at yesterday, something that the players mentioned afterwards. Did something like that speak as loudly to you as the on-field results to maybe confirm your feelings that a change needed to be made?
You know what? I hope our fans saw that image. I hope our fans saw that image. I hope you show that image, because they're going to be part of this solution. Our fans are part of this solution. They need to come back and support this team for the Texas game. I hope they come back and support these seniors who have laid it on the line for them over the last 4 and 5 years. But this isn't done simply with dollars and cents. It isn't done simply with the right head coach. It's done with a fan base coming back, being passionately supportive of the young men in our program. It's important to recruiting. It's important to our campus. It's important to our student body. So we need our fans to come out. And I know they've been waiting for a long time for a reason to believe. But what I'm asking them to do is invest in the front end, come out here to see this team finish the year against Texas. Come out and support us with a season ticket. Many times people say we focus only on the wealthiest donors. But there are many, many of our fans who, can't be donors, so to speak, to the Williams Education Fund. But maybe they can afford a season ticket. Maybe they can afford a single game ticket. The key is in supporting, because that support in the stadium, one, it gives us a home field advantage. We didn't have the home field advantage against Iowa State. We didn't have it. So, again, I know our fans have been waiting for something good to happen. But I hope they'll see this. I hope they'll come out and support, and I hope they'll get in line and line up to support us next year, because it really begins with them. It begins with them being in that stadium, creating that crowd noise, maybe causing a false start, or getting somebody who drops a pass because of you can feel that electricity in the football stadium. So, you know what? A lot of this is about our fans coming back and supporting us. So thank you for that question.
Jeff, will you consider a candidate's age, whether it's a positive or a negative in your search, and I guess what kind of a role will that play in your review?
Well, by federal laws, I'm not allowed to have age be a factor in my search. So, age, you're only as young as you feel. And I feel a lot younger than my 59 years. It's hard for me to believe it when I say it. But, I think it's not about age and years. It's about energy. It's about passion. It's about commitment. It's about eagerness to get out and turn the program. So I know this. I'm eager and excited and passionate, and I'll be looking for that same kind of leader of our football program.
Would you not limit the pool? Like, are you going to still look at assistant coaches, or do you think you're more likely to hire someone with head coaching experience?
Yeah, I would tell you that I believe as I evaluate a program, I think we need someone with head coaching experience. Now, will I eliminate all coordinators that have demonstrated the potential? I don't know, Tom, early in the stages here that I can do that. I want to make sure that we have a head coach and that we can attract a head coach with that head coaching experience. If we can't attract someone that has that level of experience, and then I will turn to coordinators that have maybe showing that promise of being a quality head coach. But again, if you ask me my desires, I'd like to have someone with head coaching experience. These jobs are too big to learn on the job, and I'd like to be able to attract someone who's been a head coach.
Hey Jeff, what made this weekend the breaking point? I mean, was it the attendance? Was it the lack of offense? I mean, what kind of made this weekend the weekend to make the move?
Yeah, I don't think I can boil it down to one thing, to be quite honest. Obviously, I did start evaluating the program back in 2 days in August during that period. As you go through the season, you start to see, as I said, the season really began on September 1, that opening game, and that's when you start the real evaluation. And I just felt at this point of the season, after seeing the game against Iowa State, that this was the time and that we needed to move forward. And in fairness to Coach Beatty and the team, speculation about his future was only going to continue. Everyone was going to be swirling around the program, and I think, quite honestly, that would be more of a distraction to our student athletes and coaches than actually coming out at this point and sharing my view. So I think I'm hoping that the coaches and student athletes will be freed from that distraction and that they'll be able to focus on going out and beating K-State this weekend.
Just to piggyback on the point about speculation about David's future, you said you made your decision this morning. Do you regret that media reports reported this last night before you had an opportunity to tell Coach Beatty? Yeah,
my goal is this. One, I wanted to be able to chat with Coach Beatty because I feel like I owe that to someone. And then secondly, I wanted to be able to be in front of the student athletes and share them. Things get out, things start speculating. I'll be honest, until I woke up this morning, because I said I wanted to sleep on it, I woke up this morning, and then when I knew that it was time, and I thought this was the day to do it, and I thought we needed to move our program forward today.
Jeff, there's been talk that KU might not have enough support staff in football compared to some other schools. Is that so, and are there any fundraising plans to beef that up or that issue? Yes,
actually, as I've been out on the fundraising trail, I've kind of changed the message, and the message has kind of changed from let's raise funds for David Booth, Kansas Memorial Stadium. I got it, man. Really kind of put that's still an important project, and I use the term, I'm kind of putting it on simmer. There are still donors who want to support that, and believe me, it's going to be a key to our future. But right now, our investment needs to be in the program. It needs to be in the coaches. It needs to be in the coaches' assistants, all those analysts we talk about, the quality control coaches, and that whole recruiting operation. We're down, as our estimates, as we look and surveyed our competitors, anywhere from 8 to 13 to 15 from the average program in the country. And I'm not talking about the teams that have perennially made the top 4 playoff teams. I'm talking about the Big 12 average. So yes, we have an investment to make in our program. That's in personnel and that's in quality of assistance. And that's what I've been out talking to our fan base about. We're going to need them. We're going to need our donors to step up and help us for a period of time till we can turn success on the field, which then will mean ticket sales and generate more money for our program.
In your conversation with David, who made the push for him to finish out the season? Was that more of your call or his call to finish what he started?
Yeah, you know, my sense going into the meeting was that David Beatty would want the opportunity, and it was my hope that he would accept that opportunity. So I want you to know that I made it clear to him very early in our conversation that I wish for him to complete the season, and then he immediately accepted that opportunity to do so. And again, I respect that out of him, and I didn't really expect him to turn it down.
Hey, Jeff. There's been athletic directors in your shoes, I think, in past years that maybe didn't have as much financial flexibility, maybe couldn't afford a buyout if they wanted to get a coach. Can you speak to the financial part of this with hiring the next coach and where you stand with being able to do that?
Yeah, well, we have a plan in place to help with the, commitment we have to Coach Beatty's salary, and obviously we will honor that contractual obligation. We also have several coaches who are on multi-year contracts. I assured every one of those assistant coaches that they would have the opportunity not just to have a phone call, but to sit down face-to-face conversation with the new head coach if they had a desire to stay here. So that's really what I've offered them. Yes, we have a financial plan behind this for both the transition out of existing coaches and transition in of new coaches. That's the investment I'm talking about. And it is backed up by donors who have made direct contributions. It's backed up by areas of our athletic program where I'm locating resources that maybe we can spend differently and spend in our football program. So it's a combination of ways that we're going to cover these expenses of both the outgoing staff and the new incoming staff.
What kind of challenges that might come with this? With obviously Beatty's only going to be here for 3 more games, and many members of the staff might not be here much longer. Could be a challenging situation for coaches to kind of put all that they have into it. I mean, what makes you think that they'll be able to do so?
Well, first of all, David Beatty made that commitment to me, and I believe that he's going to do everything in his power, and he's going to work just as aggressively he has in the past to finish out this season. Again, you can sense and feel that when you talk with him, but then I also met separately with his assistant coaches and felt that same commitment from them. Look, in many ways, they're auditioning for the future head coach if they'd like to stay, and then they're also, if they plan to be coaching elsewhere, they're also auditioning for that. So, and besides that, you know what? They're men of character and they're professionals, and I have no doubt that they're going to give it their all these last 3 games. I'll be honest, you spend a few minutes with our football players, and it's easy. I know this. I want to do everything I can, and I'm the one who can least impact it, but I know this. I want to do anything I can to support these young men as we finish out these 3 games, and I feel it in that coaching staff and support staff.
Jeff, could you address just the general challenges of hiring a new football coach? You've been through this before. It becomes such a lasting mark of an athletic director's legacy, such a big impact on the entire department. What are the challenges? Is it fun? Is it stressful? How do you approach this, and what do you expect the next month to be like for you?
Well, the first thing I think of is what you're not going to like to hear, and that is confidentiality. Without confidentiality, you can lose quality candidates. And, these ADs past have been riddled with the loss of confidentiality, and it means they lost a quality candidate. So that's why I say I will be trying to do this search very confidentially. I understand that it's the members of the media. It's your job to find out in many ways, and you want to be the first to report, and I understand and respect that as well. I'll be working hard to keep it as quiet as possible so I don't lose a quality candidate. Certainly, there is a lot of time. My wife does not look forward to this time because it's an all-consuming task. I will rely heavily on my assistants, my deputy ADs, my assistant and associate athletic directors for this period of time, even more than I already do, because when you get into a coaching search, a high level like this for a head football coach, it's all-consuming. So there's very little time for other things while you're in this process. So we're fortunate here at KU. We have great administrators. I'm supported by a great team of administrators. So I know that they'll be able to guide us while I'm fully engrossed in this. But, it's challenging. As I've already alluded to, really the biggest challenge, the most difficult part of it is trying to figure out who's really interested in your job and who's just playing the game. So there are many, many ways you try to discern that, but sometimes you never know till the ink is on the contract.
Jeff, without naming names, and I know it's still very early, are you identifying any front runners in your mind right now, any leading candidates, or is it too early for that?
No, there have been, again, just in the last few hours, there have been a number who have aggressively sought out to make sure that I knew that they were interested. Some of them I was thinking about before the announcement today, but I really don't. There really isn't a front runner. I'm going to be looking for a leader of young men, someone that can, who has maybe a history and track record of building a program, because we have to build a program, and it's really important to do that. And that's why I don't think, and I hope our fan base understands, it's not a quick fix thing. We've got some other challenges we have to fix within our program. Some of that takes time. The answer is recruiting, so we will be out recruiting very, very aggressively. Anybody else?
Jeff,
Yes.
are there any advantages to doing this now, that what you've done?
Yeah, I do think there is. And again, it's a double-edged sword for me. I don't like the idea of making this decision during the season, as I have already said. But I think getting out in front of it and potential coaches knowing that we are available, it gives them some more time to think about this possibility. When jobs open right after the season, the process can take, a couple weeks. And if we wait till after the season and then 2 more weeks after that, we're very close to that December recruiting time, and we really put ourselves behind the 8 ball. So I do think it's an advantage getting it out. I think recruits who maybe are committed elsewhere or thinking elsewhere or uncommitted at this point will maybe take a second look at KU, and they'll be waiting to see who we name as a head coach, and maybe it'll be enough to have them take another look at KU. Okay. That's all right.
If a coach who has not worked with you in the past is wondering what that relationship will be like and how involved you'll be and whether you want input on assembling the staff, and what would you say to a coach out there about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Philosophically, I hire a head coach to hire his assistants. Now, I've got to be aware and closely involved simply from a financial standpoint, because I've got to be responsible for the management of that budget. Coach will certainly know the pool we have, but I need to know and make sure we're making responsible decisions with those assistant coaches. Again, I'm going to hire a football coach who can run and lead this program. While I have football experience, my job is to help and assist that coach. I certainly won't be dictating to him who he hires, how he organizes his staff, how he organizes recruiting. I do know this: there has to be organization in those areas. So I will certainly be watching for it, but more importantly, on the front end, I'll be trying to ensure that it's there with the coach that we hire.
you mentioned recruiting several times and how important that's going to be with the December early signing period. How is that handled since Beatty's on his way out? Are there assistants on the staff that will kind of lead recruiting and kind of take care of what you need to get done during this time? Or?
Sure. What I've done was ask those assistants to continue to stay in touch with those recruits. And again, remember, a number of them are under contract, so they're obligated to do so. But also, more importantly than that, I think they want to continue to do that, and I think they're interested in potential of staying here and being part of the program. So I don't have any concerns because of the type of men they are that there will be any tricks or games played in recruiting. I think they'll honestly approach these young men, stay in touch with them, let them know that the process is underway for a new coach, and again, they'll have an opportunity to sit with that new coach when he comes in. So I don't really have concerns that way. Now, our recruiting assistants in the background, they'll be vital to that new head coach and the new staff that comes in because they really know the young people that we have an opportunity with at this early signing date.
Would you consider somebody maybe in the NFL that could already be a head coach or maybe out or had been a head coach in the NFL previously, or would you like to stay within the college ranks as it pertains to coaching?
I think it's very difficult to hire a coach from the NFL that does not have significant college coaching experience. The recruiting experience, all the rules and regs, it's so different. The amount of time that coaches get to spend with their athletes in college is so different than the professional ranks. I think unless you've spent a significant time, that would be a difficult hire, and I in that direction. Pro football in general is difficult just because their season lasts a lot longer than our college season, especially if they're in the playoffs. So I'm not ruling it out. I'm just saying it's a little bit more difficult to have a scenario where a NFL coach fits our needs. Okay. All right. Well, thank you for coming out on your Sunday evening. I appreciate you being here. And I all want you to know that we are committed to breaking the cycle, and we're going to have a football program here that all of our fans and alumni and supporters can be proud of. Thank you.